it presents challenges for them. Maybe they only win this thing by 7-10 points, and maybe that really slows them down at the end of the season.
Yeah, on that note, let's start to give our picks for this game, and not just who's going to win or lose, because that might be easier said than done, but the spread I just saw is up to USC minus 14.5, and to me that's just a little big, you know? I mean, to me, when it's over 2 touchdowns, it's just hard to pick that. I mean, I think I'm going to take Arizona plus 14.5. I'm actually pretty confident about it.
Yeah, I could see it, right, for the reasons that I said before. I really think USC covers the spread, and I think 14.5 points is a lot of points, and winning by 2 or 3 touchdowns is hard. But I think that the gap between these two teams is just big enough to the point USC is going to get that done. I mean, we've seen games where the Pac-12 things can be close against teams where it shouldn't necessarily be close against, but we've also seen teams go out there and put up 35-7 or 42-10 performances, and I think that this game could turn into one of those. I have to admit, when we were planning out this crossover edition of Wildcat Dash, I was a little bit disrespectful, and I said maybe we shouldn't talk about who wins. Maybe we should talk about who covers the spread, because in my mind, I don't really see a chance why USC loses this game. Excuse me. So I'm going to give you the platform right here. Do you think Arizona is going to win this game?
I think they have a better shot than people think. I would not be surprised if they win this football game. I mean, like I said, nobody knows what, you haven't seen them play football this year. So if they come out, I mean, I think 2 straight weeks, if they get out to a big lead, I think it's going to be hard for USC to come back. I mean, you can't come back by that many points every week, I mean, I just don't think that's going to happen. So, I mean, I think if they come out early and scoring a lot of points, I mean, I expect this game to be high scoring. I think it's going to be over a 60-point total game. I mean, I think both teams are going to put up at least 30 points. I think USC's defense just didn't look that great last week. I mean, I think they'll improve as the season goes on, but I do think if Arizona establishes the run game early, plays the clock right, and just keeps it on their side, I mean, and doesn't make a lot of mistakes, I mean, I think they have a good shot to win, actually.
Emil Jones back up in the chat saying USC by 3 touchdowns. I have to agree with you there. And then Jacob saying potential trap game, and I guess every game we're severely favored is going to be a potential trap game, because if you lose, it could ruin your entire season. But I want to talk about what you said about coming back every single week, and I think you definitely can't make that sort of that same type of comeback week in, week out. But I think what happened in the Arizona State game was that at some point USC, at least offensively, flipped a switch and said, your defense is not as good as my offense, and therefore, if we get the ball, we're going to score. So I think if Arizona goes up early, I still do, I mean, it's going to have to be a pretty big lead for me to say that there's no chance that SC comes back and wins this game, because for me they could be down even 21 points in the third quarter. I really do not think it'll get to that point in the first place, but if somehow that were to happen, I still don't think this game's out of reach for SC. I think that if they can make the adjustments, whatever's ailing them in the first, 2.5 quarters of that game, if they can just turn that around and sort of take that same philosophy and say my offense is better than your defense, to me, there's no reasonable deficit that USC can't come back from.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but I also last week it was the first week, so we don't really know what to expect. This week's going to be a true test for, I think, all Pac-12 teams that are playing, to see what they really got, because 1 week's under their belt for a few of the teams, So you got to come out and, if USC's defense is playing at a high level, I I think they could win by a few touchdowns, just because Arizona's I think USC, I think in the end of the day, USC is just going to outscore them, and not Arizona's just not going to be able to keep up. And so, yeah, I think USC could easily score 40 points. I mean, plus even with that against that shaky defense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I see USC's defense putting up necessarily a dominant performance. I mean, we saw last week didn't look all that great, right? The Todd Orlando game plan, I don't honestly, I don't even know what it was. It just didn't look that good. And the only reason they were able to close out that game, obviously they got to stop late. But if they hadn't gotten that onside kick, then they would have lost that game, and it would have been, a lot on the defense. I mean, of course, they turned the ball over 4 times, but I don't know if you should really be allowing 28 points in that game. And it could have been more if they had extended the lead toward the end there. But again, I think that the Wildcats, I think they have the quarterback and they have enough weapons at wideout to make this not a close game. I still don't think it's going to be particularly close, but to put up, maybe, I don't know, 20 points, 17, 20 points against this SC defense. And I don't see them putting up pretty. As you said, I guess I wouldn't be shocked because the USC defense in the last few years hasn't particularly been, good. And I don't know if I really, I mean, I'm not going to go all in on them, allowing 7 to 10 points in this game just because you can never really expect that. But I think USC could allow 17 to 21 points this game and honestly still win by like 30 because I think this offense is just so high-powered. And, I don't know if there's any way USC scores less than 35 points.
I would just be shocked if they win by like more than like 24 points. If they win by more than 20 to me, I would just be shocked. I just have like such high hopes for this offense, and I think this offense could be better than ASU's offense. I mean, I think we have a better quarterback in Arizona. I mean, I think our receivers, I think they're very good, and they're going to prove a lot of people wrong this year. And the run game, we have multiple different running backs that can take J.J. Taylor's spot this year. And I think it's a tough game, but I think it should be an exciting one.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a reasonable chance that Grant Gunnell has a better season passing than Jaden Daniels, right? I think what we saw in the USC-Arizona game, he only threw the ball like 20 times or something like that, and his numbers weren't particularly great. I mean, again, it could have been a similar kind of thing that happened with Keaton Slovis where, you come out of the gate, and when it's your first game of the season, especially against a good opponent, even if USC's defense isn't, world class, I guess. But it can just present that sort of thing where, I don't know, your timing's a little bit off, your decision making's a little bit off. You try to force too many passes that, it's a double, triple coverage that not only you can't make, but no, human quarterback can really make. I mean, Keaton Slovis was trying to force some balls that, I don't think Aaron Rodgers could, right? So that from Greg Gunnell, I think we could kind of see that. I know he's a competitive guy. I was reading up that when he found out that Arizona was picked by a lot of people to finish last in the entire Pac-12, he said that's disrespectful. I think we're going to go out and shock some people this year. So I admire that competitive mindset. I wonder if being a young quarterback, if there's a chance that sort of backfires on him and he tries to do a little bit too much, at least early on this game, and sort of starts to dig a hole that is too big for the Wildcats to come out of. And honestly, I don't think that hole necessarily has to be that big. I think they have to carry a pretty sizable lead into halftime in order to really threaten to upset the Trojans in this game. But again, I think it's going to be a good quarterback battle. I think this offense is probably going to be solid. I think USC is going to make enough defensive adjustments to get the job done. Again, I don't think they're going to allow 0, 3, 7, 10 points in this game. But I think given how well this USC offense projects to match up against the Wildcats defense, despite the fact that they don't really know what to prepare for, what to expect, I don't think the defense really has to be that dominant in order for the coaches to win.